Edition of Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. Welcome, Nerd Herd, Nerd Nation, whatever you want to call it. My name is John Polnik. I'm your host of Bid Nerds, as well as my partner, Michael Deeb in San Francisco. Look at him freezing in there. Don't talk about the weather. Nobody wants to hear about the weather. We always talk about the weather, but we're not going to do it today. We're in Las Vegas. The weather's great here. Sorry, Michael Deeb. You're freezing. What do we do on this channel? If you are new, what we do is we find the most interesting car from all these auction sites, and then we have a conversation about the car, and we make a prediction as to what's going to happen with that car's auction results. That's the fun part, because you can play along. It's like The Price is Right, only with interesting enthusiast cars. When we make our prediction, we encourage you to play along by putting your auction prediction in the comments below, and then at the end of this episode we will reconcile our predictions with the real results. We will go into the future and we'll put those two things together. We are accountable to our stupidity. Michael Deeb, you're ready to go today? Today's car is one that I am surprised we haven't really talked about many of these. This is one of the greatest cars of all time, certainly one of the top 5 best sports cars ever. Michael Deeb, take it away on today's car. Look at this thing. Wow.
PCAR Market has served up this 1988 BMW E30 Generation M3 Coupe with just 63,000 original miles out of Flushing, New York. And John, this car looks the part in what I would be my favorite color for the car, Alpine white with black leather interior. This is kind of the holy grail of, like, you know, sort of subcompact sports cars. Just pure analog, ring it out and just drive it and have fun on a back road. Really a car that started an entire brand for BMW and just absolutely raised their profile as a marquee that could make a car that you would actually love to drive. Everything about this car is cool. They basically took the E30 platform and homologated a car with special bits so that those parts could be put onto the cars that they raced in touring and sedan racing, not only in Germany, but throughout Europe, and then, of course, around the world. So immediately when you see an M3, the first thing you notice are the boxed fender flares, which are just absolutely gorgeous. That beautiful raised rear wing. Not a lip spoiler, but a wing that air would travel underneath, which would allow BMW then to homologate a wing that would get air underneath it and create usable downforce for their, DTM teams and stuff like that. These things have just a beautiful little 2.3 liter 4-cylinder, the S14 motor that revs, a Getrag 5-speed manual transmission. And John, our car has a few little pieces that I want to read to you before I give it back to you. But the guy who owned this car, JP, is somebody like you and myself that did all the little things that we would do to sort of enhance an older car's driving experience. So the wheels are stock, but they've got Bilstein shocks and Eibach springs. He put larger sway bars and a strut tower brace on it, and an Eisenman catback exhaust. There's some sort of little upgrade to the brakes. I can't quite tell what they did, but it looks like they painted the calipers a blue color, which I don't like. But all of those things are things that you could put on the car, drive it, and then you could take them off if you wanted the car to be stock, or if you really thought this car was a big collector value, you might take those things off to sell it. Now, this guy's left them on, but I understand that the stock pieces are included in the sale. The interesting thing, John, is that the car is on PCAR Market. I think this car could be in for a big number on BAT. Even though PCAR Market sells cars like this, I don't know. The market is softening. They didn't put the stock pieces back on. It's on PCAR, not BAT. I'm just wondering if this car is going to fail to hit that final fizzle and bring a staggering big number, or if it's just going to kind of, I don't know, sort of leave a bad taste in your mouth when the final number comes in because of where it's at and sort of the state that it's in. And, we're in the dead of winter and it's freezing out and, half the country's covered in snow. So I don't know. I'm nervous about this one. This is a car I'd want to own, and this is a car I would think I couldn't afford. But maybe this one, maybe this one gets let go a little bit cheaper. What do you think, John? I send it to you. First of all, my cousin Joe had this exact same car, a white black E30 M3, and I got to drive that car in the city, and that was it. I was absolutely hooked. I couldn't believe how fun the car was to drive when I was a younger guy. How much time have you had behind the wheel of an E30 M3? Have you driven one more than I have? Because I've only had the one drive, and I remember it like it was yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they are terrific driving cars. I've never owned one. I've been very close a couple of times, and I regret not having ever gotten one. This one certainly looks like the type of E30 M3 I would certainly love to own. I remember when these were very inexpensive. These, I mean, we talk about how 911s have appreciated so much, and these are right there with them. They kind of correspond with like the 964 era of 911s. 964s were really, really cheap for a long time. No one wanted them. And when no one wanted them, these BMW E30 M3s weren't really worth that much. I mean, I had the opportunity to buy one of these, I want to say in 2010, and I was very, very, very seriously considering it. And I could have gotten it for like, $9,000.
Wow.
And it was, a gray on black one. It had a bunch of miles on it, but it was literally a two owner. The guy who I was interested in buying it from, he had the car since like it was an 88. And so I think he bought it in 89. It was like a year old when he bought it. The poor car was sitting under a bunch of sawdust work. He had it in his garage and he did all kinds of woodwork. The car had been sitting for years and he got it going. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, and at the time I had like an E92 BMW 325 with a manual. I was like, and it was worth about $10,000, and I was like, maybe I'll sell the modern car and get one of these old ones. But I was like, I kind of, long story, but I love these cars. They are absurdly fun. They kind of. It's funny because like 911s, they were giant killers. Like you said, this is what is a 1.8 liter little 4-cylinder engine.
2.3.
2.3. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, a little 4-cylinder, right? And all of the 911s were, compared to the Ferraris and the muscle cars that, their little 3 liters and 3.2s and 2.7s and stuff like that. I mean, they always punched above their weight. And that's why this car and the Porsche 911 kind of lived in the same space, and so many of us that liked both these cars. But these cars were always a little bit more practical. They had a usable rear seat. They had a real trunk. So I think that's why people, some people kind of went this side. Nowadays, BMWs are all about big displacement. I mean, the next generation, the E36 BMW had what, a straight six, I don't know, so
3 liter straight six.
3 liter straight six was the next engine. Yeah. So it's like, come on, guys, what the heck? They just kept, almost like muscle car style. So this really is the true M3. This is the M3 when people think of M3s. Now BMW's completely lost their way. An M3 is a 4-door. I mean, come on, guys. BMW sucks now. This is the BMW one.
Forced induction.
I have a shout out to a good buddy of mine. Well, Porsche is the same thing. Shout out to my buddy Lenny Napier. I always pronounce his last name incorrectly. Lenny in Tucson. He has one of the nicest one of these in existence, and I think he's bringing his to auction here pretty soon too. So I'm sure he'll be paying very close attention to this one to see what happens. He painstakingly restored his car himself over the course of, I want to say, like 10 years. It's just gorgeous. So yeah, back to this car. His is also white on black, so it's as nice.
Have him call me. I'll make him an offer.
Yeah, you might. What are you talking about? You need a wide body. I'm not going to let you buy another car unless it's a wide body Porsche, because otherwise you'll just bitch the whole dang time.
It's true. So will my wife.
What do you think this car will what's going to happen to this car's auction?
John, I'm really starting to talk myself out of this one. Listen, JP, on paper, this is a $160,000 car, if you can believe it. But the market's a little soft. It's winter everywhere. He didn't put it back to stock, which, again, I like it the way it is. But then I'd also expect to get a discount for the way it is, because he didn't spend the $8,000 to take all these pieces off and put it back on, or he's not a mechanic. He didn't do that. So I wrote $145,000, but I got to look at PCAR Market. And do I think this car is going to bring 145,000 on PCAR Market? I don't, but I'll kick myself if I say 130 and it does. So I'm going to just take $5,000 off my initial notes. I'm going to send it back to you, John, and say 140 grand. And I do believe it would transact at that number. And I do believe PCAR Market could bring that number. I'm just not confident in either. So I am, with trepidation, sending this back to you at 140 grand. But I really don't know, John. This one really has me confused. I like the car though. I like the colorway and I like the upgrades, but I don't know that they enhance the value. Is certainly for the the argument about what we think it's going to transact at. And then I still think that this car should have been on BAT. It looks to be too nice an example not to be on BAT. I think he's leaving money on the table by transacting it through PCAR Market. So we shall see. Because again, this should be over $150,000 car, and I just don't think that's going to happen. So I send it to you, JP. 140. Where are you at?
Yeah, I don't see why you're so. I don't see any of these mods causing a negative issue. I could see it not bringing any positive money. You and I had an argument on DWA's podcast, Driving While Awesome, about your car. You own a 190 Cosworth, and you have some mods done to it that you argued very vehemently that the coilovers negatively affect the value of that car in a way that does not, that if you left it, bringing it back to stock, wouldn't cover that. Worth the money. Wouldn't be worth it. So I think maybe you're right. I may acquiesce on that on your particular car, and I defer to you because you know the owner of that car better than I do. I don't know the 190 market very well. I love those cars, but I don't know how persnickety people get about them.
It cost me a couple of grand to put the car back to stock, but one of the arguments is, again, a lot of the Mercedes 190s that have aftermarket suspension, it's because the self-leveling suspension system in the rear fails and you can't get the parts to fix it. I have a working condition self-leveling system, and by putting that back on, I can sort of boast that this car is stock, including a working SLS, which is becoming rarer and rarer on the cars. It's not too different than air suspension on an S-Class or an older Cayenne turbo kind of thing. They're a pain in the ass if they go out, because what do? You got to buy new suspension, and it's not going to be the stock stuff.
But on those cars, it's an up. If those things have been replaced, it's worth more because they're gonna fail. Like the SL55s with the ABC and stuff like that. It's better if you've already done the conversion to coilovers. But you're saying that people want they're purists and they want that original stuff.
I think my car will show well. I still think the 190. Yeah, I think the 190 appeals to a slightly older or more mature buyer than the average M3, E30 M3 guy who wants to go rip the car to pieces. But anyways, we'll see. My car's going to actually I'm getting it onto BAT, so we'll cover the car in a couple of weeks. But I say 140 to you. I don't know.
I don't see the mods being any issue at all. Just like a 911, of the same era that has better suspension or whatever, none of that stuff's going to be a problem. If it had the wrong wheels, that would be a different story. Totally. If it had, different seats or something like that was really obvious, but there's nothing obvious on this car that's different.
No.
Yeah. And I think it's all actually better. But on the other hand, I also don't think it's going to get anywhere near $140.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to struggle to break 100, if I'm honest. I think,
okay. Well, then why don't you bid that?
I am going to bid 110 just to keep the spread a little bit closer. I will be surprised if it gets much more than 100. I just don't think these are that strong. I think there is a softening out there, and there's just and you're right too about the time of year.
Yeah. That's a strategic bid though. That's not your gut. And so I'm going to hold you to that, but yeah, we'll see what happens. JP, if you win this one, right, even if it's somewhere between our bids and you're still closer, I would not be surprised by that. But white, black, low, sub 100,000 miles, and basically stock condition.
Yeah.
This car is worth a whole lot more than that. And if he doesn't find it here, then I think the seller's a fool for trusting PCAR Market and not putting it on BAT, because I do
It's a
think
big roll of the dice going to this platform. I am with you 100% on that one, because sometimes they knock it out of the park and sometimes they fail miserably. Whereas BAT is pretty consistently, they bring the money. They have their failures as well. But what do you guys think out there in the audience, in the nerd herd? Do you think this car is going to bring all the money? Do you like Michael Deeb? You think it's going to bring $140 or better, and PCAR Market's going to hit this one out of the park? Or are you a little bit more bearish like I am and thinking, I just don't think the buyers are out there for M3s at the moment, and it is the wrong platform. So now is the time to go ahead and plug your bids in down below and see if you're better at this than we are. And then we're going to go in the future, and we'll be back in about a minute to see exactly what happens with this car's auction and see which one of us are the smarter of the nerds. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy.
1989 linen gray metallic G50 cab.
Is that gonna be for sale?
It is gonna be for sale. The car only has 65,000 miles.
Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas.
If you love watching car videos on YouTube, you gotta check out my channel, The Rami Show. Oh, this car! I am driving a 2020 Lamborghini SVJ. This car, watch this. Oh! 115 mile an hour turn, like it's nothing.
We are back to the future. That's what they say. All right, thanks for sticking around, everyone. Here we are. We fired up the flux capacitor, and it's time to reveal the results of this BMW M3, an E30, one of the most iconic sports cars of all time. Michael Deeb, I'd say you did pretty good with last week's predictions, but this one was a miss. And if I'm honest, I think even though, well, let's get to the results and we'll talk about them. Go for it.
Listen, man, it's a white black E30 M3 with under 100,000 miles. What did I miss, John? Listen, I tried to bang the door about this car had some modifications, and I hinted that like with a 190, if you put the car back to stock, I think you'll get more money for it. I said $140,000. You came in way underneath me at $110,000. Our car sold on PCAR Market for $84,250 on 18 bids with all the mods. Now, it's hard for me to make sense of this. Do I think this car would have brought more money if they put it back to stock and put it on BAT? Yes, but $84,000, like that, it seems like the car was stolen. Like, that is unbelievable. Such a low price for a sub 100,000 mile Alpine white E30 with black interior. That is the spec that everybody wants, and the mods that are on this car are good, and you could put it all back to stock. I can't wrap my brain around the fact that this car tripped. In other words, that it transacted for under $100,000, but like $16,000 under $100,000. I really think this car got stolen and let go. Like, I'm shocked that the reserve was that low. I'm shocked that somebody won it for that kind of money. This result does not make any sense to me. Now, I might be high at 140 grand. But man, a retail number on a week-long auction of under 100 grand, I don't know, John. That either the market has really changed and I didn't notice, or something's wrong with this car that I completely missed. But that seems really low. 84 grand. That breaks my heart. I would have wanted that car for $84,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, 911 Carreras are 100 grand. You get this E30 M3 for under 100,000 miles for less than $90,000. That seems really good. I don't know. It something's fishy. I feel like I missed something. So let me know what you think, and then I'd love to know in the comments if I missed something on the lot that somebody saw either in the comments or the disclosures that I missed. That number doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know, man. It kind of does to me. I think it probably would have brought a little bit more money on BAT. I don't think the mods made a dang bit of difference at all. I think that has nothing to do with
it.
it.
Yeah, because they're good mods.
They're good mods. They're exactly what you want.
Right.
But honestly, this car is only so much better than a 911. And, this car to me, M3s are... Carrera, like you said, a Carrera, an 87 Carrera, a G50 Carrera or something like that is honestly a way better car. This is more on par with an SC or something like that. So, I mean, that's about what they're going for. And I do think the market is softening. That's a thing. People are not spending as much money, and PCAR Market is one of those places where, okay, well, this isn't a Porsche. Would it have brought another $10,000 on BAT? Yep. Probably would have. I think this is just straight up this is a combination of two things. Wrong platform, and number one, and number two, people are just a little hesitant out there. This is a great car, and I think this is indicative of what it's worth. I think $80-something, $90,000. I just can't imagine paying more for this car than that. I think there's so many other options at that point. And that's not knocking. It's an M3. An M3 is a great car, but I just don't. I think the days of seeing $100,000 plus M3 E30s is just, it's not going to happen for a while unless it's perfect and
super
really low miles. If this were a 25,000 mile car, then we'd be talking something closer to what you predicted, I think.
It wasn't that long ago, John, that over 100,000 mile cars were still bringing $120,000, $130,000, $140,000. And so I thought this car being the best colorway and comfortably under 100,000 miles would easily bring over 100 grand still today. So at 84 grand, that result knocked my hat off. That to me is as surprising as that ugly toxic orange Viper bringing $92,000 that was a theft recovery. So it's equally as surprising, but for a different host of reasons. So congratulations to the buyer. I think you got a fantastic car at a fantastic price. I think you can really enjoy that car. And if the market does come back in a few years and you're still owning that car, I think you could realize a lot. That owner could realize a lot of equity. It feels to me like they bought it for a wholesale price. So congratulations. Well done.
I'm absolutely with you that I would way rather have this car even at $90-something thousand than that stupid theft recovery Viper on Haggerty.
365 days out of a year for sure. I agree with you.
Hey, check out that episode, guys. Check out the episode from yesterday about the Viper, and you'll see what we're talking about. All right, what do you think of the results of this M3? Is this a softening? Was this a steal, like my partner Michael Deeb says, or was this just kind of it's a BMW E30 M3, and they're great, but they're not that great, and there's lots of other options out there for the same money? Let us know what you think in the comments below. We really do appreciate those comments, and we love our nerd herd out there. You guys are so great for sticking with us and hanging out with the show and being subscribers. If you're new to the show and you like this episode, please share it and hit the subscribe, like, and notification button if you haven't done it already. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Nerd!